So, what's happening everyone? How are we all? Thank you for pressing play on another one of my YouTube videos. Lately, I've been on a Resident Evil hype. So, all I've played is just Resident Evil games for the past couple of weeks. Whether it be in the whole Halloween, October spooky season, maybe has something to do with it, or the fact that I just love Resident Evil. Maybe except for Assassin's Creed. It's going to be hard to pick between them, but I'd definitely say Resident Evil is up there with one of my favourite franchises of all time. I've got my collection here, and I'd just like to share with you what I've got. Before we get into the collection, what I've got, let me know what your favourite is, and comment, subscribe, all that lark. Let's get into it. So the first one on my list, obviously we have to start right at the beginning, the original Resident Evil. Now yes, this is the Platinum version. I know there's very different versions of this, there's loads of them. I am on the lookout for the director's cut, but at the minute, that's what I'm happy with. It was my childhood copy, to be fair, Resident Evil from the beginning. Next up, Resident Evil 2. Now when I was a kid, I didn't actually play this one. I went from Resident Evil 1 in the Spencer Mansion, and then just seemed to have skipped over this one completely because I only played this one as an adult. So there's that. And my favourite, and always has been, and I think it always will be, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. As a kid, he scared the shit out of me. Still quite scary now, isn't he? But Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, this was my go-to, the original one. And yeah, fantastic. A recent addition, it was my birthday last week, and that's when we picked this up. Resident Evil Survivor. I also picked up the GunCon, the Namco one, and yeah, we had a good go on it. Me and my son playing this, shooting all the zombies and everything. Not the best Resident Evil game, but it was a good laugh, and I'm happy to add this to my collection. Moving across to the PS2 games is the beloved Code Veronica. Now, admittedly, I've never played this. I feel like I'm going to get shot for that. But Code Veronica is a game I have never played. And as a Resident Evil fan, that doesn't do me very well, does it? Resident Evil 4, it wouldn't be a Resident Evil collection with at least a couple of copies, as you'll see. We have Resident Evil Outbreak, File 1 and File 2. Why we haven't gone for more multiplayer games like this instead of that Resident Evil verse or reverse, whatever it was called, that they tried to bring out when they already had this set out. Resident Evil Outbreak multiplayer worked brilliantly. Another light gun game was Resident Evil Dead Aim. Now this was a weird one because you could play in third person, but then when it comes to the shooting, that's when it'd switch over to first person. Now weirdly enough, I just kind of skipped over the PS3. Didn't actually get any titles for the PS3, but to fly through this, on the PS4 we have the Origins collection of 0 and 1, the remake Resident Evil 2, remake of 3, bit of a letdown, cut out a lot of content, didn't it, from the original, but still a fantastic game. Resident Evil 4, 5 gets a lot of hate, but I personally love Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 6, unfortunately, I don't feel the same way about this game. What is going on with Resident Evil 6? Resident Evil 7 next, and I've got it twice. We have the standard version and the gold edition. Brought Resident Evil back to its horror roots, didn't it? Saved the franchise, if anything, and I'm a massive fan of Resident Evil 7. I love it. Resident Evil 8 on the PS4 next, with a nice steelbook. A continuation of Ethan Winters' story. And yeah, I've actually restarted Resident Evil 8, or Village, whatever you want to call it. Up next to the PS4 is Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2. 2 still in the seal. I've never played Resident Evil 2, Revelations 2, sorry. Weird the way it says box set. This was at the time where, because Telltale Games were doing really well in making everything episodes, Resident Evil followed, a lot of games followed. Don't know. What do you think of Resident Evil Revelations? Let us know. PS5, Resident Evil 2 Remake, fantastic game. Resident Evil 3 Remake, alright game. Resident Evil 4 Remake, now this is my favourite one out of all of them, I think. And just look at that steelbook. Absolutely beautiful, one would say. Resident Evil 4, and I'm made up to have the steelbook. Resident Evil 7 again, and Resident Evil 8. I will just fly through what other little odd bits. So on the Xbox 360, this is why I didn't have any for the PS3. I weren't very much a PS3 fan at the time. I was more for the Xbox 360 with Resident Evil 5 and 6, and I got the steelbook version with Resident Evil 6. It's in great condition. It's been well looked after, I must say. And then a weird one, Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. This splits a lot of fans. I'm currently playing it on the Xbox Series X, and yeah, it's quite a good game, a good shooter. It'd be better. I'm only playing it on like single player campaign at the minute. I imagine it would be better playing with friends, but hey ho. So onto the GameCube collection now. We have Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1, the remake. What a game this was. This was fantastic. Capcom really are good at doing remakes, aren't they? Resident Evil 2 on the GameCube. Resident Evil 3, there's Nemesis again. And Resident Evil 4. Definitely loved Resident Evil 3 with Jill Valentine, and I definitely think she deserves more time in the Resident Evil games than what she gets. I mean, come on, she done the Spencer Mansion, and then she went and fought Nemesis, and won, by the way. But no, everyone just loves Leon, don't they? Anyway, a couple more Nintendo games. Nintendo 3DS, I've got the Mercenaries game. I picked this up quite recently, dead cheap, and yeah, it was in good nick. I was quite surprised actually. It's a good game playing on the 3DS. The Rail Shooters on the Wii, Resident Evil Dark Side Chronicles, and Umbrella Chronicles. It's good to see the Resident Evil universe, Raccoon City, the mansions, whatever, from a different perspective when you play it on these. And then another copy of Resident Evil 4. Motion controls. Not a big fan of motion controls, I'll be honest. But you know, if you're anything like me and you've got a collection like this and you know a game exists, I just had to have it. It's that simple. But that is all of my Resident Evil games. Once again, thank you for watching. I'd love to hear from you lot. What's your favourite Resident Evil game? And yeah, as I said before, hit out all the subscribe buttons, the follow buttons, whatever. Check out the other socials. And we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.